Have you ever opened your phone, scrolled through your contact list, and suddenly felt empty? Hundreds of names, dozens of conversations, endless notifications, and yet no one to truly talk to, no one to call without thinking twice, no one who really knows you anymore. We are surrounded by people, yet somehow we feel alone. And that raises a painful question: why don't friendships last like they used to? There was a time when friendship was simple. You didn't need a reason to meet, you didn't need to schedule it like a business meeting. You just showed up. You sat together, you laughed without filters, you spoke without overthinking every word. Time didn't matter, phones didn't interrupt. Friendship was presence. It was about being there, physically, emotionally, genuinely. But today, we live in a world where being available doesn't mean being present. Today, we are more connected than ever before. We can text instantly, call anytime, video chat across continents, but somehow we are more distant than ever because connection has been replaced by convenience. We send memes instead of conversations. We react to stories instead of asking, "How are you?" We assume, "I saw their post, they seem fine." But social media is not reality, it's a highlight reel. And slowly, we confuse visibility with connection. Let me tell you something real. There are people in my life who once felt permanent. We spoke every day, morning messages, late night calls, random conversations that lasted for hours. We shared everything: dreams, fears, embarrassing moments, future plans. We thought this will last forever. But life had other plans. At first, it was small, replies got delayed, calls become less frequent. Busy today, let's talk later. Later never came. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and then silence. No fight, no argument, no clear ending, just distance. They didn't leave dramatically, they just faded. And I remember asking myself, what changed? Did I change? Was I not enough? That silence is louder than any goodbye. Losing a friendship is different. It doesn't get talked about enough. There's no closure, no defined breakup, just unanswered messages and memories that don't fade. You start questioning yourself. You replay conversations, you overanalyze moments, you wonder, could I have done something differently? But here's the truth we rarely accept: not all friendships are meant to last forever. And that's not always your fault. But in the middle of all this, there are a few people who remain. Not constantly, not loudly, but consistently in their own way. They don't call every day, sometimes not even every month, but then suddenly the phone rings and it's them. No formalities, no awkwardness, just "Hello, how are you?" And somehow everything feels normal again. Those conversations don't feel forced, they feel real. And you realize these are not frequent friends, these are true friends. They may be absent, but they are never gone. And when life gets difficult, they show up, not for entertainment but for support. And that difference is everything. So, what actually changed? Why do friendships fade so easily today? Let's be honest. Life has become faster. Everyone is chasing something: career, money, validation, stability. And in that chase, relationships become optional, not a priority. We tell ourselves, I will reach out later, I will reconnect someday. But someday is the most dangerous word because it rarely comes. We have also become comfortable with distance. We think if the bond is strong, it will survive. But that's not how relationships work. Friendships need effort, they need time, attention, care. Without that, even the strongest bonds weaken, not because they were fake, but because they were neglected. Another uncomfortable truth is people change. Their priorities change, values change, circumstances change. The person you connected with 5 years ago may not be the same person today, and neither are you. Sometimes you grow in different directions, and that's okay. But it also means not everyone can walk with you forever. One of the hardest lessons in life is this: not everyone is meant to stay. Some people are temporary, not because they didn't matter, but because their role is complete. They were there when you needed them, they taught you something, they shaped a part of you, and then they left. And instead of holding on to the loss, you have to learn to appreciate the experience. At the end of everything, friendship is not about quantity, it's about depth. It's about having even one person who understands your silence, who doesn't need explanations, who shows up when it's inconvenient. Because real friendship is not built on constant communication, it's built on genuine connection. There is a specific kind of friendship that hurts the most when it fades. Not the casual ones, not the temporary ones, but the one where you felt understood without having to explain yourself. The one where silence wasn't awkward, where presence was enough. And when that kind of friendship disappears, it leaves behind a very quiet emptiness. Not loud or dramatic, just a constant absence. You don't cry every day, you don't talk about it, but sometimes something reminds you of them. A song, a place, a joke only you two understood. And for a moment, you feel it all again. Let's talk about something we all say: we should meet soon. It sounds genuine, it feels sincere, but most of the time, it's just a polite sentence, not a real intention. Because if we truly wanted to meet, we would. We schedule meetings for work, we plan trips months in advance, but when it comes to friendships, we leave it to chance. And slowly, let's meet soon turns into we haven't spoken in years. There's another silent reason why friendships fade: ego. Not the loud, obvious kind, but the subtle one. The kind that says, why should I message fast? They haven't reached out either. If they cared, they would call. And so both people wait. They both assume and both people stay silent. And a relationship that could have survived slowly disappears. Not because of conflict, but because of pride. Sometimes friendships don't end suddenly, they fade gradually. So slowly that you don't even notice it happening. Conversations become shorter, energy becomes different. What once felt effortless now feels forced. And one day you realize you no longer share the same wavelength. The jokes don't land the same, the conversations don't flow the same. And it's not anyone's fault. You just grew apart. Just think about your school days or the college days. Friendships were easy. You met every day, you shared the same environment, there was no effort needed. But adulthood changes everything. Time becomes limited, responsibilities increase, and suddenly maintaining a friendship requires effort. And here's the reality, not everyone is willing to put in that effort. There is a kind of loneliness that exists even when you are surrounded by people. You attend gatherings, you talk, you smile, but inside you feel disconnected, because real connection is not about being around people, it's about being understood. And when that is missing, even a crowd can feel empty. Going back to my own experience, those friends who disappeared, they were not bad people. They didn't betray me, they didn't hurt me intentionally. They just moved on. And maybe I did too. But there's something I have learned. Just because someone is no longer in your life doesn't mean the friendship was meaningless. Those moments were real, those conversations were real, that connection was real, even if it didn't last forever. And then there are those few people, the rare ones, the ones who call even after months. No special occasion, no specific reason, just a simple call. And when you pick up, it doesn't feel like time has passed. It feels like continuity, like the bond never broke. Those friendships are not built on frequency, they are built on depth. And depth is what truly matters. We often measure friendship by numbers, how many friends we have, how many people we talk to, but the truth is, you don't need many people. You need the right people. One genuine friend is more valuable than 100 superficial ones. Because in your worst moments, it's not the crowd that shows up, it's the few who truly care. At some point in life, we get tired of always reaching out, tired of maintaining connections, tired of one sided effort. And so we stop trying. Not because we don't care, but because we care protecting our energy. And sometimes that distance becomes permanent. Another reason friendships don't last is we are afraid to be vulnerable. We hide our struggles, pretend everything is fine, because we think if I show weakness, I might be judged. But real friendships are built on honesty, on being able to say I am not okay and knowing the other person will stay. We grow up believing true friendships last forever, but reality is different. Some do, most don't. And that doesn't make them failures, it makes them human. Because people change, life changes, and not everything is meant to be permanent. Instead of feeling bitterness, try seeing it differently. Be grateful for the laughter, for the memories, for the time you shared. Because not everyone gets to experience meaningful friendships, even if they were temporary. Pause for a second. Think about your life. Think about your friendships. Who are the people who truly matter? Who are the ones who would show up if you needed them? And more importantly, are you that person for someone else? Friendship is not just about finding the right people, it's also about being the right person. So, after everything we have talked about, a question naturally comes up. What actually makes a friendship last? Is it time? Is it proximity? Is it the shared history? Not really. Because we have all seen friendships of many years fall apart. And we have also seen connections that stay strong despite distance. So, what's the difference? It comes down to a few simple but powerful things: effort, understanding, and intention. Friendship is not just a feeling, it's a choice, a repeated choice to check in, to call, to show up, even when you are busy, even when it's inconvenient. Because the truth is, we always make time for what truly matters to us. If someone consistently says, I am busy, it might not be about time, it might be about priority. And that's a hard truth, but an important one. Another key to lasting friendships is understanding. Real friends understand that life gets messy. They don't demand constant attention. They don't measure the relationship by frequency. They don't say, you didn't call me, so I won't call you. Instead, they allow space. They trust the bond, and they know even if we don't talk every day, we are still there for each other. Many friendships survive on a habit. You talk because you always have, you meet because it's routine. But when habit breaks, the friendship fades. Strong friendships are different. They are intentional. You don't just talk out of routine. You reach out because you want to, because you value the person, because you care. Now, let's turn the focus inward, because it's easy to say people don't stay. But the real question is, are we doing enough to make them stay? Ask yourself, do you check on your friends? Do you listen without distraction? Do you remember the small things about them? Or are you also caught up in your own world? Being a good friend is not complicated. It's about presence, consistency, and sincerity. Sometimes all it takes is one message, one call to revive a connection. But we hesitate. We overthink. What if they don't respond? What if it's awkward? But here's the truth: If the friendship mattered, it's worth trying. Even if it doesn't go back to how it was, at least you will know you tried. Not every friendship can be saved, and that's okay. Holding on to people who have already let go only hurts you more. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is to let go. Not with anger, not with resentment, but with peace. Accepting that they were part of your life, but not meant to stay forever. Maybe the problem is not that friendships don't last. Maybe the problem is our expectation that they should. What if we redefined friendship not as something permanent but as something meaningful, even if temporary? Because duration does not define value, impact does. At the end of everything, a few people remain. Not the loudest, not the most frequent, but the most real. They may not be there every day, but when life gets heavy, they show up without being asked, without needing explanations. Those people are rare. And if you have even one, you are fortunate. Think about those friends again, the ones who disappeared and the ones who still call, even if it's after months. Now you understand the difference. One was convenience, the other is connection. One faded with time, the other survived despite time. And that tells you everything. As you grow older, your circle becomes smaller but stronger. You stop chasing people, you stop forcing connections, you start valuing peace over popularity, depth over numbers, and suddenly you don't feel the need to have many friends. You just need the right ones. So, if you are listening to this and thinking about someone you haven't spoken to in a while, maybe this is your sign. Reach out. Not because you have to, but because you want to. And if you are lucky enough to have even one person who checks on you even after months, who calls you without needing a reason, who stands by you when life gets difficult, hold on to them. Because in today's world, where people disappear without explanation, where connections are temporary, where conversations are shallow, real friendship is rare. And if you have it, you already have something priceless. See you on the next one. Bye bye. Take care.